Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Multi-Voice Entertainment. I'm the Multi-Voice Reviewer. I have many voices, but one opinion. And I hope some of you have enjoyed my thoughts about James Gunn's project over DC Cinematic Universe, and and of course, my multicast idea of Green Lantern Corps. Right now, this is going to be a sort of a review that I always wanted to talk about, but I never came around to do it until now. Today, I'm going to be reviewing to you all Mystery Men. Now, what can I say about Mystery Men? One thing not many people know: Mystery Men was based from a comic book, and not just any comic book, but it's also from the Dark Horse, and also the Mystery Men appeared. I mean, and one thing not many people know: the Mystery Men were a spin-off to a certain comic book that they did tons of series of comic books based on it. I mean, a tons of series of, and it is none other than the Flaming Carrot. Now, for those of you who don't know about the Flaming Carrot, it's about a superhero. I mean, a guy who wants to be a superhero. So he finds himself a mascot like carrot mask that he puts over his head, and it has like this torch on top where it flames. So that's why he calls himself a flaming carrot, because his head is a carrot with a fire on top. And he also wears these green flippers on his feet, diver flippers, and also sometimes carries a gun, and he fights crime. And during his adventure, he meets the Mystery Men, a group of wannabe superheroes who wears costumes and have land. I mean, their abilities are not exactly that spectacular, but it's there nonetheless. And of course, sadly, they didn't do the movie about the Flaming Carrot, but do the movie of Mystery Men. And how it all starts, I'll tell you this. First, we have Captain Amazing, played by Graham Kinnear. Oh, say that reminds me. While I was on the subject about Booster Gold, here's a little brief multicast thought I have here. Now, if they're gonna do a Booster Gold movie, I like his outfit to be more like this, because I like the look from Smallville, so I thought they should keep that outfit for Booster Gold, along with the yellow shades, those yellow sunglasses he wears. And a lot of people kept thinking about Chris Pratt should play Booster Gold. No. I don't think Chris Pratt should play Booster Gold, but there's one actor I think who should play Booster Gold is none other than Donald Faison. Donald Faison. I've seen his performance on Scrubs. I thought he was really funny. He was really talented. And one thing I do know that he did play Booster Gold on the series Legend of Tomorrow. It's just too bad that they ended with a cliffhanger where a group of time cops showed up and arrested the Legend and Booster Gold himself. I wish they should have done more to his performance as Booster Gold, so I think this would give him another chance if he wants to play Booster Gold, because I see a lot of potential of him playing Booster Gold. That's it. And I think they should have done more before leaving it that damn cliffhanger ending, which that's when the the Arrowverse was canceled. Bastards. But anyway, let's get back to the story, shall we? Now, Captain Amazing, now, he's a made up character. He's never in the comics. They just wanted to make up a certain superhero who is big, famous, egotistical, and also one thing about Captain Amazing, he's in for publicities and making everybody happy. So he doesn't care about the people. All he cares about is publicity. That's it. Just the fame from publicity, and of course he lost his Pepsi endorsement, so that's one of his problems. Hmm. And all of a sudden, he did do one of his heroic acts in a nursing home. Now, if that was a nursing home, gives me a good reason for me to be there when I get old. If a nursing home is like that, I would not say no. Compared to the nursing homes of today. Now, now here's one thing I thought was really funny. He talks to his publicist, which he made an inside joke saying, "I'm a publicist, not a magician," which in real life, the actor who played the publicist is a magician. Told him that if you want big news, he needs big fights. Superhero needs supervillain, and surprisingly, they got none left. And I couldn't get over that one joke they said. He said, "Well, bring in a Deathman. Deathman's dead. Deathman's dead." I don't know why, but I just think that's hilarious to say Deathman is dead. And he also asked about Father Doom. Sorry about that, folks. My heater started turning on, and I'm boiling. But anyway, all the villains. I mean, some of them are. I mean, have life without parole, and some of them are doing 30 years on exile, and the other one got the chair. And when they mention another villain called Casanova Frankenstein, played by Jeffrey Rush, Captain Amazing was going like, Casanova Frankenstein. Now there was a supervillain. He just got those eyes. I can't do it, but in the voice, pure evil, the battle we used to have, extraordinary. But of course, he has a sneaking suspicion. Since he's locked up in a insane asylum, he's thinking about finding a way to release Casanova Frankenstein. And of course, his therapist named Dr. Leek, played by the lovely Lena Olin, she starts telling the board that he is cured. And of course, Captain Amazing showed up wearing glasses, playing his alter ego, Lance Hunt, who is a billionaire and a lawyer, and convinced the judges that he should be released because he is cured. I mean, I remember that one scene in the movie when the guy's talking about that Lance Hunt is Captain Amazing, and here's the argument there. Lance Hunt wears glasses. Captain Amazing doesn't wear glasses. If he takes them off, then he transforms. It doesn't make any sense. He wouldn't be able to see. I mean, is that the same kind of argument people talk about Superman? I mean, Clark Kent wears glasses. Superman doesn't wear glasses. If Clark Kent removes his glasses, then he transforms. So don't give me the he wouldn't be able to see bullcrap. But anyway, they released Casanova Frankenstein, and a little known fact that Dr. Leek, his therapist, turns out to be his girlfriend. And wait a minute. She's a therapist, and she's in love with her patient. Does that remind you of somebody you know? That'll probably come back to me sooner or later. But anyway, back to the story. And of course, there's a group called the Disco Boys, I know one of them is played by Eddie Izzard, one of the most famous stand-up comedians from England. And now he's going to bring havoc in the world. And Captain Amazing showed up, and as a doofus he is, he fell into Casanova Frankenstein's trap by knocking him out with a chloroform. So now he is held hostage. And he's trying to find a way to escape his fate. I mean, try to say things in order to help him escape. And now, get ready to meet the group themselves, the Mystery Men. First, we have the Shoveler, played by William H. Macy. Now, his story, he's called the Shoveler. So his weapon of choice is a shovel. And the only reason why is because he works in a sewer and he shovels very well. So he's a very good shoveling kind of person, using a shovel in the sewer. But the problem is that his wife doesn't appreciate what he does. His wife doesn't appreciate, and on the deleted scene, the kids don't even appreciate him. They keep making fun of him by saying these horrible stuff about him. And the only person who encourages him and also believes in him is his youngest son. And of course, you have Mr. Furious, played by Ben Stiller. Oh, a little known fact. I'm showing you the picture of the character from the comics and the picture of the actor who plays him. So if they don't have a comic book look of them, then they're made up for the movie, just to let you know. Mr. Furious, who played by Ben Stiller, I mean, his ability, his power comes from his rage. So every time when he's angry, he's all. I mean, he's not like the Incredible Hulk where he gets all big and green. He just gets all. It's silly. It's really silly. And of course, we also have the Blue Raja, played by Hank Azaria. Now, a lot of people remember him doing a lot of voice acting for The Simpsons. And he calls himself the Blue Raja because his ancestors were British, and it was during the time of the British where India became part of the British Empire. So he's kind of saying that his ancestors were the British people who ended up in India and made India be part of the British Empire. So that's why he calls himself the Blue Raja. And also he throws forks. So he's a master of cutlery. So forks are his throwing stars. I mean, always. And ever since they noticed that Captain Amazing is held hostage inside of Casanova Frankenstein's house, they try to get in, but the Disco Boys beat him up pretty bad. So there's only 3 of them, and there's so many of those Disco Boys. They need to recruit some. They need to recruit some more team members. So they found a kid who calls himself the Invisible Boy, played by Kel Mitchell from Kenan and Kel. Now, a little known fact, the character Invisible Boy, he was never in the comics, true, but the creator who created the comics, he got so drunk, he told everybody that he has an idea of another superhero, a boy who could become invisible when nobody's watching him. So, if everybody ignores him, he can become invisible. And the producer likes the idea so much, they had that character star in the movie. I mean, they created the character, and Kel plays him. A kid who could become invisible when nobody is not watching him. And he cannot see himself. I mean, if he sees himself in the mirror, he can become visible. So they shouldn't be a mirror or anybody staring at him, and he could become invisible. Kind of a weak ability, if you ask me. And then they made another superhero called the Spleen, played by Paul Pee Wee Herman Rubens. Ha ha! La 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 la! So I'm playing a superhero! Ha ha! If any of you know about Pee Wee Herman, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, Spleen's ability is this, and he talks about what happened to him, how he got his powers. He was 16 and he accidentally cut the cheese, and he blamed it on a gypsy woman who was passing by. So the gypsy put a curse on him and decreed if he smelt it, she would decree that he will be forevermore be he who doubt it. So, and the only way he'll fart if people pulls his fingers. And his farting ability stinks so bad he can knock people out. So every time when they pull his fingers, it goes. Okay, I gotta lay something straight here, folks. I mean, to me, I'm not a big fan of fart humor. Not really. I'm not a big fan of fart humor. I've seen movies where they use so many fart jokes, it's just not funny anymore. But here's the thing. There are some movies that you use a fart joke once in a while, and that's what makes it funny. So, use a so this is a point to you guys who can be funny. If you want to use a fart joke, use the farts once in a while. Because if you do it so many times, it's just not funny anymore. So, have a little once in a while. And that's what makes it funny. And they decided to have a little, sort of a tryout for other superheroes, since Invisible Boy knew tons of other superheroes from the costume shops and martial arts stores. I mean, he knew how to network. So now they have Invisible Boy and the Spleen, and they've gone through so many superheroes. Some of them are people who pretend to be superheroes, while, there is even Dan Cook, who showed up as the Waffler. And in his skills, he uses a waffle iron to bash his enemy in the head or burn them. And also have a truth serum, which is just maple syrup, which is low fat. And there's even tons of other superheroes that are downright ridiculous. And even, here's one thing that did bother me. There are these two ladies, and they're both wearing Wonder Woman outfit. But I know during some legal rights they can't use the word Wonder Woman, but it's obvious. Except one is a raven-haired and the other one's a blonde. So, if they want to look like Wonder Woman, I would say the raven one looks close enough to Wonder Woman. The blonde needs to go. Until they just couldn't find those who were good enough to help. Until all of a sudden, out comes the bowler, played by the lovely but liberal Big Mouth, Janeane Garofalo. Now, a little known fact, did you know that Janeane Garofalo and Ben Stiller know each other because they both have worked together in the Ben Stiller show? And when they cast Ben Stiller into the movie, he gave Janeane Garofalo a call and convinced her to play the bowler in this movie. So, Good thing that Ben Stiller gave Janine Garofalo a call. But one thing about the bowler now, she's the daughter of a famous bowler called Carmine the Bowler. And how he died, he fell on an elevator shaft onto some bullets, which the police said it was an accident, but onto some bullets? I find that fishy, if you ask me. So, so the bowler turns out that she has a bowling ball and it's her father's skull inside of the bowling ball. And it turns out that her father possesses the bowling ball. That's just too weird, but whatever sticks, right? And and of course, I remember the Blue Raja asking her, did she really put her father's skull inside that bowling ball? And she said, no, guy in the pro shop did it. And then all of a sudden, they found another superhero who is called the Sphinx, played by that Cherokee Native American actor. Now, please bear with me, I'm trying to pronounce his name right. Wes Study. Wes Study. I think I have his name right. But anyway, he plays a superhero called the Sphinx. And his power, he's mysterious. Terribly mysterious. That's his power. But also, he can cut guns in half with his mind. So now he becomes sort of a trainer type. I mean, he's tries to master these superheroes, but most of these wisdoms that he gives these people are just silly wisdoms that pretty much everybody can get, like saying, if you learn to master your rage will become your master, or you can be the master of your own rage. And one thing I thought was really funny is that when Ben Stiller trying to balance the tack hammer, he asked him, "Why am I doing this again?" And he says, "If you learn to balance a tack hammer on your head, you can head off your foes with a balanced attack." Then why am I wearing a watermelon on my feet? And they all look down and he's wearing watermelon. And he said, I don't remember telling you to do that. Oh yeah, and one thing about there's a song in the movie called All Star by Smash Mouth. And believe it or not, they made that song to support the movie, but sadly the movie wasn't a huge success, so they reused the song for the movie Shrek, along with I'm a Believer. But Kel Mitchell did do a song, and the song goes like this. There's only one thing that I need to know. Yes, indeed, who are these mystery men? Now, now, Mr. Furious, he doesn't like how this whole thing is going, but the problem is, I mean, even in the deleted scene was showing, I mean, they are a group, but they don't have leadership. They don't have somebody to guide them along the way. And and Mr. Furious just wanted to be the way it is because he's so desperate into busting in Casanova and save Captain Amazing. But there's a lot he had to learn. So Mr. Furious just left the group and I even start talking to the waitress on their diner they go to, and they started having a sort of a relationship thing going. And and of course, one thing that they remember, even the bowler remembered. I mean, the shoveler remembered that when he was him and his team was fighting in the nursing home in the beginning of the movie, there was an old guy who calls himself Dr. Heller, and he's a weapons designer. And Dr. Heller was played by a blues singer named Tim Waits. Now, a little known fact, Tim Waits couldn't remember his lines when they were doing their filming, so he had all of his lines written in his hands. So that's why when you see him doing his performance, you see him just waving his hand right in front of his face because he's just reading his lines while he's saying his lines, doing his act. So if you look real close, you could pretty much see letters on his hands. If you ask me, that's pretty handy. And now this new team finally got together and was about ready to save Captain Amazing. And when they finally found him, they were trying to find a way to help him get out of that doomsday device. And sadly, they accidentally flipped the wrong switch. And it killed Captain Amazing. Now, in a comedy movie, if it turns him into dust or turns him into a skeleton, it'll be funny that way. In a flash, it'll be hilarious. But what it did, it just twisted and turned and just at him that he's nothing but a crispy, dead carcass. And the only thing I thought was funny is when the bowler walked up to him and said, "I'll check his pulse." And his wrist snapped off and landed on the ground, and she was like, "I don't think he's going to pull through." So now there are arguing over whose fault it was to flip the switch. It causes his death. And of course, I remember the Blue Roger saying, "Oh my God, we killed him." And the shoveler said, "What do you mean, we? I was right here." And of course, one thing I thought it was unnecessary to put in the movie is that Invisible Boy and the Spleen were the lookouts to check to see if anybody's at their area, and all of a sudden a skunk mistaked the Spleen as another skunk, so it started hugging his leg. That was unnecessary. I mean, it's not that funny. So after their foiled plan to save Captain Amazing, they decided to run away because the device he has. I mean, even Heller knew what kind of device it was. It's called a psychofraculator, where it just turns everything. I mean, it would make your hallucination become reality, and it will fry your brain from within. So they decided to leave, but the shoveler decided to stand up and take his leadership, because he starts telling them that this is their fight whether they like it or not. So what do they say? Gather together and kick some Casanova butt, or he's had to sit there and just eat his egg salad sandwich. You know, I can go for an egg salad sandwich myself. You know me, I love egg salad. So they battled against tons. Oh, one thing about Dr. Heller, I forgot. Dr. Heller, he's a weapons designer, but every weapon he made is non-lethal. He doesn't make deadly weapons. And you want to know how unlethal it is? Well, he made a canned tornado where he opens up the can tornado and toss it at people, and people get caught by a tornado going swirling around, 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 around. And he also have another gun called the Shrinker, which it doesn't shrink people, but it shrinks their clothes. So every time if you fire a guy, his clothes get so really, really tight, he can't even breathe. and and also there's a deleted scene where they have the sticky balls, where they throw a ball on the ground, and whoever steps on this green goo gets stuck on the floor. And they also found a Herkimer battle jeep, which is very armored, and it's a finest non-lethal military vehicle. So they're going to use that as their ride, and also use a hydroelectromagnet in case any of them are firing their guns. The electromagnet will take all their guns away. And he also have a gun called the Blame Thrower, a blame thrower. Aiming at people, aiming at a group of people, they start arguing with each other. Like if Eric and I are standing side by side and you fire that gun at us, me and him will start arguing and saying hurtful things towards one another. And oh yeah, and there was that cameo from Michael Bay, that hack of a director. This is why I don't review any of Michael Bay films, because, I mean, some movies that are okay, others are just so ridiculous, especially with his Transformers movies. They were so damn ridiculous. And, he turned on his psychofaculator, and now it started to shoot in the city, so now they're trying to find a way to stop it. Now, in the deleted scene, the bowler decided to use the can tornado on it, but it made better sense if she uses her bowling ball. Because her dad, who is the bowling ball, finally got his vengeance. It was Eddie Izzard who killed him. So now, he needs to stop the machine. So now, he goes into the machine and destroys it from the inside. So now they save the day. You know, they should introduce some of the other superheroes who are in the comics. Take it for example, there is the Bumbo Man, Captain Action, Citrus Man, Jumping Jehoshaphat, Screwball, Silverfish, Spider-Boy, Star Chart, the Panic, and the Zeke. Those are the original other team members in the Mystery Men in the comics. So if you are interested in the comic book version of the Mystery Men, if you want to read some comic books about the Mystery Men and even read Flaming Carrot himself, you should go to Amazon and buy yourself the Flaming Carrot Omnibus. You can get all the stories you want, and who knows, maybe do a remake and this time have the Flaming Carrot in it. Because one thing I've been hearing so far, since the Marvel movies, they were being very successful, but now they're kind of dying down because every single Marvel movie, some of them are a swing and others, some of them are a hit and some of them are a miss. I just hope that the Silver Surfer doesn't become a disaster. And the same thing goes for the third volume of Guardians of the Galaxy. So, and of course I heard about James Gunn and his project of DC. That means that the DC movies are now become popular. I hope, cross your fingers, that the DC movies turns out better. But I also think it's time for some people to make movies based on other comics. Like they did the live action series of The Boys and Invincible, which most of them are from Image and Dark Horse. I just wish they should bring back some of the old forgotten ones, like Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers, Phantom and uh, Mandrake and Luthor. And of course, like I said before, John Carter deserved the respects it needs. And then now I'm hearing that they're planning to do a new Barbarella movie. I hope this one turned out to be a success. So, this is my review for the day. If any of you like my review of Mystery Man, please leave a comment down below, hit like and subscribe. And sorry about this lighting, folks. I mean, this is a new lighting my mom gave me, but I'm afraid I'm going to use the other one instead because somehow every time I put my hands down, it's starting to make my face all orangey. Well, I'm the multi-voice reviewer. I remember so I can jog a memory.